Gruesome Magazine.
Hello! Once again, I'm your host, Doc Rodden, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-hosts Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Dave Dreher, Christopher G. Mohr, and myself will take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. Tonight, we're reviewing Unwelcome. Unwelcome, streaming on Shudder. All right, let me introduce my crew, starting off with my co-host, Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. You know, we need a little remodeling done to our house. And I was wondering if you knew a company that if anybody said it in public, everyone would grow silent and stare at you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anybody? Oh.
Leave a big turd in your toilet.
Yeah, might be. Try the wheelings. The wheelings down in the.
Yeah, they might lick things that you might not want them to lick.
Okay. With that, also joining this week is the Living Dead girl, Crystal Cleveland.
What's up?
How you doing?
How's it going?
Good. Glad to have you here.
I'm glad to be here. I'm glad I'm here and not in the Titan.
Well,
sure.
You and everybody else, I suppose. All right. Also joining us this week with that fun news is award-winning filmmaker
Christopher G. Mohr.
What's up? I just got back from leaving a plate of blood out for my next door neighbors. But other than that,
Liver?
great.
Liver for your neighbors.
Fava beans.
Yeah.
Daily blood sacrifice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. How's that working out for you?
Not well.
Not well.
They keep looking at me weird, like, why are you leaving blood outside our door?
That's
What's
wonderful.
wrong with you, dude?
Oh, man. Well, we're excited. We're here to review Unwelcome for you. But before we get into it, I want to just share that we are celebrating 10 years of H&R, Gruesome Magazine, and Decades of Horror. We started in April of 2013 when Dave, Santos, Thomas Mariano, and myself reviewed Evil Dead from 2013, the remake. And then, of course, we started our 10th anniversary episodes with Christopher, the review of Evil Dead Rise. That was fun, yes?
Yes. Mommy's with
As
the
always.
now.
Yeah, watch out for that. It's coming on, it's not HBO Max. It's just Max now. So be on there soon. We are celebrating all year long, and we will conclude with our inaugural Grue-Crew in February of 2024. I invite you to join us there. Go to gruesomemagazine.com/Grue-Crew and check it out. It's 3 days of horror and fun in the sun. We're going to shove those two elements together and see what happens. A lot of red skies, I guess, huh?
It's like society.
I heard from a couple people that are planning on going.
Good.
I've heard
listeners.
People.
Yeah.
All right.
That's exciting.
Let's jump into the card and see what's going to happen here. Boink. All right. Unwelcome 2023. Shudder. Available streaming on Shudder beginning June 23rd, 2023. Synopsis: Maya and Jamie escape their urban nightmare to the tranquility of rural Ireland, only to discover malevolent and murderous goblins lurking in the gnarled ancient wood at the foot of their new garden. That's always the story. It's directed by Jon Wright, written by Jon Wright and Mark Stay. The cast includes Hannah John-Kamen from Red Sonja and Ready Player One, Douglas Booth from That Dirty Black Bag and The Dirt. He likes dirty movies. And Colm, Meaney, who Gangs of London, Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, Jamie Lee O'Donnell from 6 Degrees, Derry Girls, Chris Whaley from Bloodlands and Young Offenders, and Kristian Nairn from Game of Thrones. Hodor. Tagline is break a promise, pay the price.
Okay.
I feel like I've dealt with that before. All right. I'm excited about this. This is a nice little creature feature to dive into. Can't wait to hear what everybody has to say. Let's start off with Crystal Cleveland. Crystal, what is your first impression?
I was like, wait, I wasn't in the corner, so now I'm all, okay, so this movie. Oh my god. Okay, so let me start off. The lead, I love her. She was in this show called Dark Matter. It was a sci-fi show, and I think she's fabulous. I think she's fabulous in everything I've seen her in. There's a lot of great actors in here. So the only one I really didn't like was the husband. Like, but it could be because of the way he was written. What a pussy.
No,
So, okay. So, like, the movie starts off and it seems relatively normal. And then as you like progress, it just gets crazier and crazier and crazier. And then at the end of the movie, it's a crazy fest. It's absolutely bonkers. And I really liked it.
Really liked it.
Yeah, I really liked it. Like, at first I was like, this is just, And then, because it's definitely, the truth is, it is like hyper life throughout the whole thing. But I didn't really realize it until it really went crazy. Then I realized, well, the other stuff is really kind of crazy too. Yeah, but the creatures are cool. I thought they were interesting. There was multiple. I guess I don't want to give too much away, or do we kind of? I guess we kind of already know, but each one has its own kind of look, and there's this kind of gross. It's very odd.
That might be a spoiler.
Yeah, it's basically a folk fairy tale kind of, crazy fairy tale kind of thing, and I thought it was great. I mean, it's not. It doesn't look like or appear like it's super high budget, because I think they could have done a lot more with it. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. It's not incredibly scary, but it's cool. I enjoyed a lot of the visuals. I enjoyed the creatures. I enjoyed the acting, and I enjoyed the story. And it was kind of gross, and I kind of hate some of these people. And the characters were written
despicable. They were despicable.
Yeah. So I think that was successful. So yeah, I liked it.
Very good. Christopher G. Mohr, sir. What was your first impression of Unwelcome?
Well, I thought all the actors did a great job in what they were doing, but I hated all the characters. All the characters are annoying. Even the wife is annoying. They make stupid decisions. Like, I mean, she could have her baby any day, and she's going off wandering the woods for no freaking reason. It just, and then her husband is one of the worst human beings on the earth. One of the worst representations of a husband that's ever been in cinema. And it's like, why are you with this idiot? And so for me, I just look forward to when the creature showed up. That's when it got good, because I think this is one of those movies where the way they crafted the creatures was utilizing old school techniques, but also putting a little bit of CGI on top of that. And I don't know if you guys remember the gate, the creatures they created in the gate. They utilized the same. I've looked up a thing online where they talked about how they created the effects, and a lot of it was they actually created big versions of the sets and actually had regular sized people playing those in several parts. So their movement seems very realistic and creepier because they're moving like normal human beings, but just smaller and thinner. And they would add like, I mean, this is giving too much away, but they would add CG on top of it when they're making expressions and stuff. Because there's a few places where you can see it's like mass and stuff. But it had that kind of the gate, a little bit of gremlins, I guess, thrown in as well.
Yeah.
To me, that's when it got good. But all these, I'm sure my neighbors thought something was wrong. I'm surprised they didn't call the police on me. I was yelling at my screen because all these characters are so. I mean, the people, I would have fired those people the first day in my house. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
I'll just throw a tarp on top of that hole in the house. That is not worth putting up with, especially when you have a baby on its way. Come on, that's just ridiculous. There's no reason to put up with that. I mean, they're just one of the worst people to ever hire for your house. The husband is horrible. The wife just was annoying at certain parts, and then it goes off in this bonker thing at the end. I mean, I'll give it to them. It doesn't make any sense. It does not make any sense. They don't really explain anything up to that point. I know it's supposed to be symbolic of other things, because you have these characters throughout their whole life. They're dealing with like people invading their space, and sometimes you have to stand up to that, even though their husband should have been killed in the first scene of the movie. He's just so annoying. But anyway, I have never been so mad at so many characters in a movie other than this. And the only thing that calmed me down is when those monsters showed up, the little creatures showed up. That's when it got good and interesting, because I think this is some of the best utilization of that in a while. Because I think, you know, it felt like a combination of the house elves and the goblins from the Harry Potter movies, and when we see that first look at that creature, it's so creepy and off-putting because of how they filmed it. And I think that this is a good selling point for how you use the practical side of effects to sell your effects, because I think if this had a bigger budget, they probably would have been going full CGI, and it wouldn't work as well. So yeah, I think the ending feels like a lesser version of was that movie recently that had the big twist on it, Barbarian. It felt a little bit like that, but like not as good. But yeah, I think the creatures are the biggest selling point for it, and they're the main reason to watch this. But if anybody's like me, they're just going to get so mad at the stupid decisions these characters make. But anyway, that was my. This movie made me really mad. I had to calm down after it because these characters are so stupid and make such idiotic, stupid decisions, and some of them are just horrible human beings. Anyway, that's my thoughts.
Horrible human beings. Jeff Mohr, sir, what is your first impression of Unwelcome?
Horrible human beings making stupid decisions. Anyway, I like it. I had fun with it. Yeah. But you know what? I can't tell you the last time I watched a movie, an action movie, a police movie, you know, and didn't think, what the hell? How come nobody's covering the back door? How come, or what the hell? Why is it, you know? So anyway, the husband was a jackass. There was one time where he was like being even jackassery more than usual, that I just didn't buy the motivation. I got the whole sort of PTSD thing. I thought there was a reason for the woman to walk out into the woods, not a valid reason if you weighed the possible outcomes, but there was an enticement, or a lure. Yeah, the effects were awesome. Those little red cap guys were friggin' great. And I don't know where else to go from there. I like the whole little mythology. We'll get into spoilers, and the ending is off the wall, and I was totally cool with that too. I mean, it just looked to me like they were just having a great time filming it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were having fun.
Can I say something real quick? I'm sorry. I did say it was her show was Dark Matter. I meant Killjoys. Killjoys. I feel bad. Sorry.
Okay. No, thank you for the clarification.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, because we'll get into it. I know her from like some of the movies she's done with.
She's been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Recently, Resident Evil. She was Jill Valentine, and then she, of course, was Ghost in Ant-Man vs. the Wasp. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yeah. And she's going to be reprising that role for Thunderbolts. But anyway, for me, for this, I enjoyed this movie. It's an interesting little monster movie. It doesn't really reach terribly far to be anything innovative, and it does take its time getting to what we know are there, and it's hinted that they're there fairly early with the dialogue and their relative that passes away and leaves them the house. I will say that the beginning of it, the introduction of our two characters, our two leads, was a little off-putting. Didn't really make them out to be the greatest characters to follow for a movie. And but I warmed up to him, even though yes, the husband was a complete ass. But yeah, I did warm up to him far more than some of the other people on the podcast here. But really, it really won me over once we got to the creatures themselves. And there was they went out of their way to make this really absurd friction between the people fixing the house and the people that own the house. We can get more into that details when we get into the spoilers, but it's like absurdly out of the way. But really, so the comeuppance that we are given is it's entertaining and fun and satisfying, and it's quite bloody getting there, and I appreciate that too. And it did have some surprises. I liked that the dog was part of it. We'll talk about that later. Yeah, it just would have been. Yeah, I'm glad it's not leprechauns. These things called red caps. Which are gremlin-y kind of things. Fun stuff. So I don't know. As a monster movie, I like the director. He's directed some things I liked quite a bit. Grabbers from 2012, I thought was a real fun monster movie as well. Also set in Ireland, if I'm not mistaken. So quite enjoyed it. But yeah, I
like Grabbers too. Yeah,
I will say that Christopher's not wrong. To everybody in here, nobody is written with any sense of you liking them. Maybe the mom or the lead lady, but
the mom is the least.
Yeah.
What? No, the husband is the least. The husband is just
the least annoying.
Okay. Yeah.
Annoying.
I agree.
No,
the
husband. The husband is just.
He's a travesty of a person.
Well, he's just it's like, how many times does he just not even care to know where she is? Or like there's one part where he jumps and pushes her
in front of him.
And I'm like, I mean, I understand the whole point of it is, but then it's like, I feel like they were trying to build it up for an arc where he was going to fight.
Yeah, I thought so too.
But then they do have a pretty funny bit where he
breaks down and starts crying.
And well, that and Colm Meaney.
I like the end.
But there's a part with Colm Meaney that made me laugh because he's like, "Let's fight like men." And he's coming.
Oh yeah,
it's a very Indiana Jones moment that I thought was very funny. Like he's gonna drop his weapon. But yeah, he's just the whole movie he's like trying to fight and stuff, but it's like there's just moments where he's just he's so freaking self-centered and he's like he doesn't even worry about like these people breaking his house. He's too busy trying to go on the internet to call the police to even worry like where is his wife at, But then she makes stupid decisions like why didn't she just hide that bag?
I know. I can guarantee you if she had hid that bag, hid the head anywhere, they wouldn't have looked anywhere in that spot for the dude. It's a big boy. They're not looking for a head.
Yeah.
Like,
she could have easily hidden it in a cupboard or something, and I don't think they would have found it. So it's just, yeah. So it's just there's certain decisions. I mean, I'm sorry. If you're a pregnant lady and you have a shotgun in front of your belly, the kickback on that gun is going to go straight into your stomach. So that was just one of the most ridiculous parts. I know, and a lot of times we can throw logic out the window, but I'm sorry.
But that's what I'm saying. Like this movie is ridiculous. The whole thing is ridiculous, and I think it's obviously meant to be ridiculous. Because once we get to the end, I think it's obvious that it's ridiculous.
I think the ending is like bonk.
Yeah.
I mean, but I wouldn't say a lot of it's ridiculous. It's just. It
is ridiculous. Like even the beginning when you think about him going down to get the wine or the faux bubbly, dude, you really needed to do that. If there's really these guys that are such an, it's ridiculous.
Well, that's more of a character trait than ridiculous. I mean, he's just always
when I think back about Grabbers, I'm thinking I might have missed the whole atmosphere of this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, that whole family.
That's what I'm saying. It's
to be over the top.
Yep.
Silly, or
that
I don't even want to say, or sarcastic, or I don't know.
It doesn't mean it's for everyone, but
right,
yeah.
Right.
It definitely, the whole thing is hyper life. It's all meant to be ridiculous. It's absurd.
Well, to me,
and that's just
hyper annoying.
And I get that because the characters are annoying.
Yeah,
like,
you have
God.
You have this husband character who's like, he's always trying to incite things, but he can't back it up, you know. And then she's got to come in and be like, you know, the peacekeeper, you know, and she's got her own issues to deal with because she's like freaking about the pop.
Well, 80,
but yeah, that talk
80,
about
80% of the movie is the couple and the 4 Whelans.
Right? The Whelans.
Yeah, those are. Oh my God, that part where he's sitting on the toilet, he pulls her vibrator out and touches it with his tongue. I was like, oh my God, what the hell is happening here?
Exactly. See, like, look, we all know that none of us would allow these people in our home. That's what I'm saying. The whole thing is absurd. It is meant to be absurd. The dude at the pub wouldn't have talked to him like that. He wouldn't look like that. He wouldn't have that. It's just, it's all absurd. Well, that's the thing with this movie.
They're still trying to ground it, so it's not fully absurd. I mean, I feel like the ending is a million miles away from the absurdity of anything that happens. But
I think the ending is to give away how absurd the rest of the film is. That's the point. It's like the joke at the end. It's the punchline.
It makes everything seem like.
No, I get it.
To the ending.
I get it. It's not for everybody. Like, this movie is definitely not for everybody. Most people will not like it. They'll think like Christopher. But if you go into it knowing that this is absolutely insane and ridiculous, no one acts like this, then it might help.
But you can say that about any horror film, though, about absurdity. But I'm just saying that, like, the characters are so. My problem is, like, when I watch a movie, when most of the characters are like annoying, it's hard to really care about what's happening. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's where I ended up caring more about the creatures than I cared about.
Well, but I think.
That was sad.
Did you ever see Grabbers?
Actually, I've never seen Grabbers.
I like Grabbers quite a bit.
Well, when you think about the story of Grabbers, it's just as, I mean.
Well, that one, it makes sense because they have to keep drinking because the monster won't attack them if they don't have alcohol in this. To me, that makes perfect sense because there's logic behind this. This doesn't have any logic behind anything.
Yeah, but they act ridiculous. That's just so I'm starting to think I gotta watch this again with a different pair of glasses on or something here.
I guess so, but they don't even show any kind of real supernatural aspects until like the very.
The very end goes
floating skulls and it's like we're just gone into total bonkersville. But I mean, the thing is, I just want to let you know, I don't hate this film. I just hate the characters in this film. That's what I hate because it annoyed me so much.
Well,
I literally got mad at this movie, and I was trying. But then we get to the creatures, like, oh, this is cool because just the
creatures are
magic
cool.
behind the creation of that. And but yeah, that family are some of the worst human beings.
Oh, and they're set up to be that way, and nobody else is able to fix it, so they're stuck with this group, and they want their house fixed. So yeah, I mean, but let's talk about Mother Redcap, a pretty surprising little character that shows up later in the film.
It was funny.
What do we think? Well, the whole thing with their little rock, hut thing and cave thing, whatever it is. And so for me, some of the best shots were in that scenario, especially when all the little red caps showed up and they're bouncing around. And then they start doing the...
Yeah, well, I knew exactly what was going to happen as soon as she killed... Yeah. Yep. It's like, oh, we got a new mommy now. Yep. Cool, I guess. But I loved it even more.
Stood there, but...
What's that?
Because... Oh, Christopher. Like, I think that they were serving her, okay, at first, and so they weren't really supposed to hurt her. And so I think that's a confusing place for these little red caps to be. And by that point, she was, Mother Redcap was going to die anyway.
I do agree with Doc that the production design on that inside the hut and all that stuff was really cool because it's made for their
size.
Stature,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
much smaller.
Because she's now like Alice in Wonderland walking around in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it had that. I mean, this is based on folklore, so it definitely has that folklore fantasy aspect of it, which probably adds to the absurdity and the bonkers.
I want to know what the skull is with the blood, because I'm like, clearly this has got to be something. Okay, it's got to be. I mean, obviously we know what's happening. It's easy to understand that she's becoming that, but I want to know what the actual lore is behind that. I want to know the story.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they're definitely doing the whole little rebirth of her, because it previously when the people broke in her house, she couldn't stab the guy in the throat, but she was willing to do that for her kid. And so I don't know. I think it's, but yeah, I think I would have loved some. You know, sometimes we have that things where they just give out too much information, but it kind of would have been nice if they'd like some storybook or something like,
there's got to be something to it. Yeah.
Instead of just like, but at the same time, I was like, I think if anybody had watched this, they probably could not have predicted how it's going to end, because it's such a bonkers level. And I was like, what is going on here? Even how the husband reacts is like, what? But,
the husband is disgusting. Okay, I'm sorry, he's irredeemable. When he's like, I know. I was like, God, just stab him, just kill him, just kill him. She's better off without him. Trust me.
I got so mad when he's in the process of having a baby. He's like, I'm here
disgusting.
For you. You're not here for her. Get out the house, you idiot. She can do this on her own. She's got more balls than you.
I'm gonna go to the pub and I'm gonna beat your ass, bitch. God. Damn.
I guess the writer's intent worked.
Yeah, it did. See? Yeah, and that's why I was like, I feel like that's how I was supposed to feel. And so that's why I think, I'm glad but I think if, I can let characters get to me. But this time, for some reason, as I was just going along, I was like, this is ridiculous. And then I just realized more and more how ridiculous it was. And then at the end, I was like, and there we are. That's the whole point. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. I was a little taken aback when the Eon character, the big guy, that Hodor from Game of Thrones, became such a snog.
Yeah.
Snogglite. I was, because he was on the edge of being redeemed, right? And then he just went all rapey, and that upset me.
Well, that, and I will say, I hate that part because they play it off like he's done more than what he has. And it doesn't take until she has to explain it.
And we see it in flashback.
And I was like,
that was weird.
Yeah. And I was like, I think that's horrible. That should not be any kind of weird thing that you can, some kind of cliffhanger thing, to where it almost felt like maybe they changed it in the process of making it. And they realized, oh, we can't have this woman being raped by this guy or whatever. But I just felt like that was, I thought that was wrong on so many levels, and I hated the way they approached that. That was just me. I was just like, because it's like, what? It's bad enough you have to sort of insinuate that's happened, but then to insinuate like, oh no, this is what happened, and the whole time you're going into, oh my God, she's got to explain that she's been, sexually assaulted by this guy, but then it's like, oh no, I kicked him in the balls, and these creatures drag him off. But I mean, I guess but I don't know. That made me really mad.
Yeah, I would say that's the one point in the film where I was kind of...
It kind of pulled me out of the movie for a little bit there.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's give our final thoughts. No, let's don't. Let's just do our score. We'll do a score of 5. We already got our final thoughts out there. And our favorite scene. And that's going to be very exciting. And Crystal, you know who's first. It's you!
Okay, so I'm going to give it a 3.75.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, and there's quite a few scenes I actually like. I'm just trying to figure out which one is my favorite. The cinematographer here really liked lens flares. I was just thinking about that. That was something that we saw a lot of. Okay, sorry, that was a random thought, but Obviously the headshot. I mean, it was. I mean, the whole head goes kablooey. Very much like Mad Heidi, except not quite dangling. Yeah.
No, but it was. It was a popper.
What's in the bag? What's in the bag?
Well, there's that too, but I think you're talking
Oh
about
yeah,
the
that
shotgun.
one.
You're talking about the shotgun.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. The shotgun.
Oh, the
headshot.
shotgun. Oh, that's great.
Headshot. Headshot, bitch. You know, that's like you in Call of Duty when you play Call.
Is this close enough?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Christopher, what is your score 1 to 5 in your favorite scene?
I'll give this a 3.25.
That's good.
Again, I don't like the characters, but I think the redeemable part is the creatures, some of the production design. I really think the practical effects in this are pretty amazing, and to know that they went like the old school way and created different versions of the sets and did the combination of stuff to sort of make them. I mean, there's literally parts I was like, wow, that looks very realistic. That you felt like these creatures could be real. I mean, there's other parts you can see they're just like masks and stuff, but for the majority of it looks realistic. So as for favorite scene, I'll say the first time when that creature shows up and brings that bag. I thought that was so creepy and effective when you see it coming and it comes in. It's like, you're a mother.
Yeah.
Like, oh God. I just thought that was very effective. But I will say, any of the shots that involve the creatures from like the hand coming inside.
Oh yeah,
things, all that stuff is so very effective, and this should be. If anybody wants to see any movies that involves really great practical effects and utilization of that in CGI, you need to see this film. It's got some good gore as well. So, but yeah, I'd say the first time we see the creature is my favorite scene.
In the bag, look, you must.
What's in the bag?
Jeff Mohr, sir, your score and favorite scene.
I'm going. I always waffle.
Waffles.
Well, I'm going to go 3.75 because
Very good. Very good.
I'm going to watch this one again. So, my favorite scene would have been the headshot, especially her saying, "Is this close enough?" But so I'll go with my next favorite scene. I mean, all the characters are so dislikable that you just wanted to cheer when they got it. So when Aisling gets gets disemboweled, I guess.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he took my scene.
And I don't even know what that thing was. I guess it was a sword, but it looked like a saw almost, you know. And then she's
trying to stick her intestines back in.
It slowly dawned on her. This was not going to end well.
Like, Daddy? Daddy?
That was creepy.
She was so... she was such a...
Oh, she was terrible, yeah. when they attacked, and actually that would have been a good scene too, when she and her brother attacked the husband in the bar. That was just infuriating, you know. That's when you really hated him. I hated him.
Not that you didn't hate him before that. All right, you took my scene. I liked the part when she stood up and she's holding onto her guts, trying to put them back in. Yeah. So for me, I've written down 3.5, but I could easily go 3.75 after this discussion. I definitely I would watch this again. Although I might fast forward through the first 30 minutes, get to the good stuff. But I think a lot of monster fans will enjoy this when it gets to the monsters, because they are well done, and they don't all look alike, which I appreciated, and I'll go with that. When they're there's a part where they're cheering and they're acting like little goblins, and they're not trying to tear you. I forget. I don't know. I can't remember if that's in the house in their little stone hut or if that was out in the yard, but there's the part where it's just like, and you get to see them all individual, right? They all look like individuals, but yet, you know, they all look like red caps. And there was like one, it looked like like 7 dwarves. You know, like there was a Grumpy, there was a Doc. You know, there's all these ones.
So were these supposed to be the babies that she took over the years, and they became that? That's what I thought that was. Because they took. Because if you listen, you know they took his mom's baby too, or his mom's first kid or whatever. Remember, she gave up her child to like save her husband, just like this woman did.
Her aunt, yeah.
Her aunt, whatever, whatever that was, yeah. But she did the same thing as she did. So.
But I thought the old lady was her. Was the one that she.
The lady was the little kid.
Yeah.
That's why
she said she gave.
But it was a son.
Yeah, they gave. She gave up the child. She gave them the child. Yes, they took the baby.
Well,
just like they did with her.
Because that's interesting. Because one of the one goblin that's on the bed that gets shot and gets on the bed and then
says "Daddy."
He says, "No, Daddy!" Right? And I was like, "Wait. Why is he saying that?" And that's never.
Well, he did want to be called Daddy, though. Right. But so you don't know. So it could be that it actually was his actual daddy, or was he just calling him Daddy because they call women mommies and.
Well, I thought. Well, at first first of all, that effect on that creature on the bed,
sad.
Yes.
It really felt like you bashed an actual creature when you were killing it, but the way its eyes but. I almost thought for a second there maybe the people they kill become maybe that was the Hodor character.
That was the Hodor. I was thinking the same thing.
So for a second there I thought because we know there's a supernatural element at the very bonkers end of it. So there's no telling. We
needed a storybook.
Yeah,
we did.
If there'd been some kind of storybook and they had
we got some vague mythology, but that's about it.
If there'd been a little bit of exposition, everything would have fallen a little bit more into place.
Should have just let the lady do it. Should have fixed your roof yourself. Everything be fine.
Yeah.
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 No. People do stupid stuff in horror films.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the film would be 5 minutes long.
Yep. Wouldn't be a movie. You gotta have. Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. That's our review of Unwelcome. It is playing on Shudder now. Check it out. You know you want to. You know you have Shudder, so there's no excuse. Let us know what you think down below. And of course, if you get the opportunity and you enjoyed this review, please hit the like, subscribe, share with a friend buttons. Every click counts. Every click will help us find more horror fans just like you.
Yep.
All right. Crystal, Christopher, Jeff. Yeah. Thank you for joining me. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks for having us. I don't even know what that was. I don't know anymore. It's all absurd now. Yep.
He's going to start going red behind him.
Good night. I know, it's like...
I need a red hat. Red cap.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here. Let's say good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.